"Dad, who built this snowman?" he shouted, and the sound split the entire yard wide open. Every single person froze in place like the air itself had been suddenly cut and held. I stood in the doorway, still holding Lily's hand, feeling her fingers turn cold instantly. Her grip tightened in my palm like she was holding on to the last piece of certainty left. She didn't move at all, not even a shift of weight or breath. Daniel didn't move either, just standing there, completely still, completely silent in that moment. He didn't deny it, didn't correct anything, didn't say a single word to fix what just happened. It felt like acceptance, like this truth had always been there, waiting to surface eventually. Chloe reached out to cover the child's mouth, but she was already too late by seconds. That moment had already passed, and everyone had clearly heard every single word spoken aloud. The air felt pressed down like something heavy had settled over everyone at once without warning. Even the wind seemed to stop moving, like the world paused to listen to what came next. My father didn't turn around, not even slightly, not even acknowledging the tension building behind him. "Then what does he call you?" he asked quietly, but it landed sharp like a blade. The question left no room, no escape, no way to soften what had already been exposed. No one answered, and no one dared to interrupt the silence stretching across the yard. I let go of Lily's hand slowly and stepped forward, moving into the space between them. Each step was light, almost silent, but every footfall echoed clearly in the heavy stillness. Daniel still wouldn't look at me, like avoiding eye contact could somehow erase what existed. "Say it," I said, stopping right in front of him, leaving no distance left between us. His throat moved slightly, like he was trying to form words but couldn't force them out. No sound came, not even a whisper, not even an attempt that could be mistaken for truth. I turned my gaze toward the boy, studying him for just a second before understanding everything. 7 years old, standing there while Lily was 6, close enough to make the truth undeniable. That was enough, more than enough, no need to ask another question or hear another lie. The answer was already there, hanging in the air, impossible to ignore or rewrite now. I looked back at Daniel, holding his silence against him like evidence already confirmed. 19 parent meetings, I said, voice steady, controlled, refusing to give him breathing room. All of them for him, I continued, watching his fingers twitch slightly at the words. You know his shoe size, what he eats, how he sleeps, everything about his life. The yard stayed quiet, so quiet that even breathing sounded louder than it should. I didn't stop, didn't hesitate, didn't allow him even a second to gather an excuse. Say Lily's teacher's name, I pressed, watching his face for even a flicker of recognition. Nothing came, not even a guess, not even a wrong answer to hide behind. Her best friend? I asked again, pushing further, tightening the space around his silence. Still nothing, just emptiness where father's knowledge should have lived all along. What grade is she in? I asked, leaving him no escape except the truth itself. First, he answered finally, but the hesitation made it sound like a guess. Too slow, too uncertain, too late to mean anything real or meaningful anymore. I nodded once, acknowledging it, but not giving him any credit for it at all. Right, I said, stepping closer, closing whatever distance he thought he still had left. You remember everything about him, every detail, every routine, every small thing that matters. But you didn't know she can't drink cold milk without getting sick, I continued calmly. You didn't know she's allergic to mango, something she's dealt with her entire life. You didn't know she turned in a blank page for my dad, I said quietly. Behind me, Lily shifted slightly, just enough to show she understood every word spoken. She always understood, always noticed, always carried what wasn't said out loud for years. Daniel's eyes reddened, emotion finally surfacing where action had always been missing before. I never abandoned her, he started, but I cut him off before he could finish. I know, I said immediately, refusing to let him reshape the narrative now. I pointed behind me, not turning, not breaking eye contact with him even once. You didn't abandon her, I said, letting the truth land exactly where it belonged. You just kept choosing someone else over and over again every single time it mattered. That sentence dropped into the silence, and the entire yard seemed to freeze completely. No one moved, no one spoke, no one even shifted their weight in that moment. Lily grabbed onto the edge of my clothes, stepping closer, staying right beside me. I didn't look back, didn't need to, didn't want to break the line holding him accountable. You didn't forget, I said, voice steady, unwavering, refusing to soften anything now. You chose, I added, and that was the part he couldn't hide from anymore. He finally looked up like he had nowhere left to run, nowhere left to hide. Emily, I can explain, he started, but I didn't let him build that illusion. Explain what? I asked, voice low, controlled, almost calm in its sharpness. That you had a kid before we got married? I continued without giving him space. That you wrapped him in a dead friend story so no one would question anything? That you showed up for him every single time, never missing a single moment. While your own daughter stood at the school gate waiting alone for you? He couldn't answer, couldn't form words, couldn't even attempt to defend what was obvious. His mouth opened slightly, then closed again, silence replacing every excuse he might have had. My father set his teacup down hard, the sound cutting through everything like a verdict. You bring another woman into my house, he said, voice steady, unyielding, final. And expect to take my daughter back with you like nothing happened. Daniel lowered his voice, trying to regain control of something already lost. Sir, Chloe is. He began, but my father cut him off immediately. I don't care who she is, he said, eyes fixed on Daniel without hesitation. That boy calls you Dad, he added, and that was the only proof anyone needed. There was no room left for explanation, no space left for doubt or reinterpretation. I reached down and pulled Lily closer to me, guiding her gently to my side. She didn't hesitate at all, stepping forward immediately, pressing herself close against me. I glanced down at her briefly, noticing she wasn't crying, not even close to it. She was just quiet, too quiet in a way no 6-year-old should ever have to be. I looked back up at Daniel, holding his gaze with nothing left to give. 6 years, I said, letting the weight of time settle fully between us. Enough, I added, not pausing, not allowing even a second of interruption. Divorce, I said, right there in front of everyone, with no hesitation at all. No shouting, no breakdown, no loss of control, just a decision already made. Something finished long before it was ever spoken out loud in that yard. Daniel didn't follow, didn't move, didn't even try to stop me as I turned away. He stood there, frozen like something had pinned him exactly where he belonged. I walked inside with Lily, closing the door behind us, cutting him off completely. He stayed outside for a long time, but no one went back out to meet him again. After the holiday, the courthouse opened, and he was already standing there waiting. At the entrance, looking like he had been there all night, unable to leave. His eyes were red, his face pale like sleep hadn't touched him in hours. Emily, one more chance, he said, voice strained, barely holding together anymore. I looked at him without emotion, without anger, without anything left to give. 6 years, I repeated, letting the number carry everything he chose to ignore. That was the chance, I said, and that was all he was going to get. He tried to speak again, but I was already walking past him into the building. The process was simple, almost mechanical, like something routine and already decided. Signatures, confirmations, stamps, everything ending faster than the years it took to reach here. No delays, no reconsideration, no turning back once the final document was sealed. It ended the way it should have, clean, direct, without anything left unfinished. When I stepped outside, the sunlight felt almost too bright after everything inside. I paused on the steps for just a second, letting the air settle in my chest. I didn't feel like laughing, didn't feel like crying, didn't feel anything overwhelming at all. Just lighter, like something heavy I carried for years was finally gone completely. My phone vibrated softly, pulling me back into something real and immediate. Lily sent a voice message, still learning how to use the phone properly. Mom, Grandpa said, we're going to see the puppies, come back soon. Her voice was uneven, soft, but full of something warm and steady. I pressed the phone to my ear, listening once, then again, letting it settle deeper. Then I walked down the steps, called a car, and went home without looking back. 6 months later, Daniel came back, stopping at the edge of the village quietly. He didn't step inside, didn't move forward, just stood there watching from a distance. He held a school bag in one hand, a pair of pink winter boots in the other. Size 31, something he had finally taken the time to learn properly now. He had looked it up carefully, done the research, tried to catch up somehow. But it was too late, far too late for something that keeps changing every day. Children grow fast, faster than regret can ever keep up with or fix. Things like that don't wait, don't pause, don't give second chances to anyone. Lily was nearby, laughing loudly, chasing a small yellow dog across the grass. The sunlight caught in her hair, making it shine so brightly it almost hurt to look. She ran quickly, freely, without looking back, without waiting for anyone behind her. Someone was beside her, moving naturally, steady, always there when she needed support. He caught her when she stumbled, wiped her mouth when she made a mess. Every gesture simple, effortless, like he had always belonged right there with her. She'd changed completely, lighter, brighter, like a child who finally felt safe. Daniel didn't speak, didn't move, just stood there watching from where he didn't belong. Like someone out of place, someone who arrived too late to be part of anything. Lily noticed him eventually, stopping for a moment, looking directly in his direction. She stared for a few seconds, head tilting slightly, like trying to remember something. Then she turned away, tugging lightly at the person beside her without hesitation. "Who's that?" she asked, voice casual, normal, without any emotional weight attached. Not forgetting, not confusion, just something already erased and no longer important. Daniel's lips moved slightly, like he wanted to call her name one last time. But no sound came out because he suddenly realized something he couldn't ignore anymore. He didn't know anything about her life now, not even the simplest details. Not her grade, not her friends, not what she liked or how she had changed. Not when she started laughing like that, not when she stopped waiting entirely. The only thing he knew was that 6 months ago she wore size 31 shoes. He stood there watching her, unable to step forward, unable to claim anything anymore. Time passed slowly, the sun lowering, shadows stretching across the ground around him. He didn't move at all, not even once, like leaving would make everything final. The bag in his hand slipped slightly, one pink boot falling quietly onto the ground. New, clean, untouched, something prepared too late to ever matter again. No one picked it up, no one needed it, no one even looked twice. It stayed there, like an answer that came long after the question stopped existing. Like him, too late, unnecessary, already left behind where he no longer belonged.